Hi guys and welcome to the first weekend roundup of 2022. Pips, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I mean, I feel like it's just another day in the same life, but here we are. New year, new goals. So much football to talk about. We had honestly so many talking points this weekend. Right, let me have a look at who we're starting with. Of course, we're starting with Arsenal 1, Manchester City 2, which kicked us off for the new year on Saturday. Lots of controversy in that game. Rodri scoring right at the death to take all 3 points. I think it was like 92 minutes and 28 seconds.
Yeah.
That is the latest winning goal City have actually scored since Gabriel Jesus against Southampton in May 2018, which was 93-01. Bukayo Saka opened the scoring. Unbelievable goal. What a talent he is for Arsenal. But you have now lost 10 straight league encounters with Manchester City.
Yeah.
However, there were so many more positives that you guys, could take from that game, the way that you guys are playing. However, your discipline is still a big talking point. What did you make of that game and what happened in it?
I haven't stopped talking about this game since it happened. I arrived at the Emirates, didn't actually expect an Arsenal win, but the moment we started playing, I was so confident that, you know what, this is Arsenal's for taking. This is Arsenal's game. They're dominating. Well, not dominating, but they're playing well, moving the ball well, and pressing City like I've never seen before. An amazing performance. Can't take that away from the young boys. But you know what? We can blame the ref and everything else, which I did on the day as well. But there was crucial chances missed from Martinelli. There was mistakes made at the back from City with, I think it was Cancelo. I can't remember who it was.
Actually. Yeah, and Ake cleared it off the line. Yeah,
there were so many chances for Arsenal to actually take that game, take the 3 points. The better team lost. Let's be honest, the better team lost. But at the end of the day, City done what they done best and won the game. That's what they've been doing, and that's what they're going to continue to do. It looks like. I did say in the last show that they're going to keep a gap of minimum 4 to 6 points at the top of the table, and we've helped them do that.
Yeah, well, they are now 10 points clear. So I think it's probably at the minute, look, City are in the driving seat, aren't they? It's whether or not Liverpool and Chelsea can catch them, which we'll speak about in a little bit. But I just want to touch on the fact that obviously there was no Mikel Arteta on the touchline. Do you think that made a difference in terms of, keeping the discipline with Arsenal? We saw Gabriel get booked for, something really cynical, really stupid, tampering with the penalty spot. But apparently it wasn't that. And then I read reports that it was, he made a comment to the ref and things like that. So do you think that, because it's not the first time we've seen Arsenal, struggle in big games with keeping the discipline? I think Granit Xhaka got sent off in, the return fixture last time, didn't he? Do you think if Arteta would have been there, maybe he would have managed the game better?
Potentially. I mean, it's always hard to say in hindsight, but I've seen Arteta on the touchline. He's always animated and he's always speaking. He's always saying something. So potentially, yeah, we don't know that. It's been different rumours as to why Gabriel got the yellow. So if it was to do with the penalty spot thing, if Arteta was there, I think he would have spoken to him about that and said, leave it alone. And it would have been more discipline in operation there. But I don't know that whether he was there or not, Arsenal played well. And everyone's going to talk about the controversy. I was furious. I'm still furious for that second half. It was like a completely different game. The referee came out and just chose violence. He was giving out yellow cards for fun. Like Saka got booked for talking, for smiling, and that was the final straw for me. I just thought, you know what, it is what it is. Even if we try to get back in this game, the ref's going to help City win this one.
Yeah, and there was obviously that whole talking point with VAR. There was a challenge when Odegaard wasn't there in the first half, which I believe Arsenal fans feel they should have had a penalty for. The one at the other end, which was given, Bernardo Silva. Do you think that if you're a striker or attacking player, you have to go down? I mean, look, there was contact and there was the shirt pull and his leg did come across him. But do you think that it's necessary to do the whole dramatic dive down in order to get the penalty nowadays?
The players are going to do what they have to do. Bernardo Silva did exactly what he needed to do. He knew Xhaka was there. He knew Xhaka's history and what it's like with referees against him. Whether what he did was wrong, it is a penalty. But it's a soft penalty for me. Bernardo Silva was already going down and there's contact and Xhaka's grabbing his shirt. So it doesn't help Xhaka's cause when it's Granit Xhaka. I mean, come on, he's famous for getting booked all the time. Well, not all the time, but you know what I mean? Constantly. So it didn't help his cause. Bernardo Silva did what he had to do. And it's a smart move from him. He thought, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity. We're struggling against Arsenal here. Maybe I'll get a penalty out of this. And he did.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is the inconsistency with VAR. With the Odegaard one, you have to go and check, the monitor if VAR are viewing it kind of have the same rules on, each thing. And I think we've seen that across, not just the Christmas period, but the whole season so far. There've been a lot of inconsistencies with VAR, which is something that we really, need to sort out and need to work on. Right, Shreth STH has said, hello, pretty ladies. Wish you a very happy new year. Do miss you on the watch-alongs, Pippa, on AFTV. Great weekend performances. Best league and worst refs. So I think we could probably agree with that.
Unfortunately, I can't be in two places at once. I'm at the game, so...
She's a busy girl, very, very busy girl. Right, let's move on to that incredible game yesterday, Chelsea 2, Liverpool 2. What a game. I mean, Mohamed Salah has been directly involved in 14 goals in his last 14 Premier League games in London for Liverpool. That's 9 goals and 5 assists. And he's become the club's outright Premier League top scorer in the capital, 14, overtaking Steven Gerrard. There was just 245 seconds between Chelsea's 2 first-half goals scored, Mateo Kovacic and Christian Pulisic, which saw the Blues cancel out Liverpool's 2-goal lead going into the break. I mean, it is such a great advert for the Premier League, that game. But, a point wasn't really good for either of those two sides. Maybe it's better for us, for me and you, that, Chelsea didn't get all 3 points and we can kind of stay within a little bit of a distance with them. Spurs, if they win their games in hand, and Arsenal not too far off. But, I mean, what a game that was. I mean, Kovacic, that goal was just like world class, right?
The game was insane. The way it started already with the fact that someone should have been sent off for a red card, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, in a moment. But there was so much drama from the very beginning. But the way that Liverpool started cruising, even though the scoreline didn't reflect how Chelsea were playing, being 2-0 up at that point in the game for Liverpool, you kind of felt like, whoa, what's good? Like, they're running away with this one. But surely Chelsea could get back into it. But moments it didn't seem like they could. But once they get that first goal, I mean, Kovacic, what was he thinking?
What a goal!
Whether he meant to do that or not, that is probably their goal of the season now.
Already. I think that might be the goal of the season, actually. I mean, it's just like a moment of like sheer brilliance and class. Whether or not he did or didn't mean that, I mean, if he did, the skill in order to do that is just incredible. But yeah, I mean, look, there was so many talking points around this game as well, especially with Romelu Lukaku. The comments that came out the other day just before New Year's, Thomas Tuchel kind of clapping back and saying that's not helpful. I think I said to you on the other stream, I didn't expect Lukaku to be in the squad the other day. I thought that Tuchel would kind of take a stand on that. And I think maybe rightly so. You don't want anyone in your camp that's coming and criticising you. Do you think that was right to leave him out? Do you think he might have made the difference for Chelsea?
Is this Lukaku you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, it was right to leave him out. Obviously, they're going through their issues, and it's been made. But what Lukaku did is wrong. He needs to make an apology to Chelsea fans. He needs to be punished and penalised. I feel like certain players are just absolute divas. They get to this level and feel like they're owed everything. Where is the humility? Why do you feel like you are? Yeah, you're the main signing, and everyone was look who's back. The big hashtag, and everyone was excited. But don't think you are the prima donna. You're not that guy. You need to be humble. And Tuchel has to find a way to deal with that situation.
I think that, he has a point that he's not happy with the system. We haven't seen the best out of Lukaku. But at the same time, I think that you don't go and give, an interview saying and kind of slagging that off and saying, actually, I want to go back to Inter when the club have just spent £100 million on you. You're supposed to be a leader. You're one of the older players kind of like in the squad now, and you're coming back to a club that you used to be at. So I think you've got to lead by example. And I think Thomas Tuchel did the right thing, with his omission from the squad. However, Chelsea haven't. Yes, go on.
The question is, how much longer is he going to keep him out of the squad for?
I don't know. The thing is that he hasn't. Well, I could say he hasn't made that much difference since he's been in the squad, but he had got a few goals just as he'd come back from injury. But I don't know. I mean, I think until he kind of apologises, maybe to his, manager and the squad as well. The fans as well. And accepts that he's wrong, which I'm sure he will do, because he'll want to get back playing again. And I guess you have to leave him out as long as Tuchel is kind of thinking that it's punishable for. But I think the biggest miss for Chelsea, way more so than Lukaku, is the fullbacks. We've seen Ben Chilwell, he's out on a long-term injury. Reece James came back and then again, long-term injury again. That is where Chelsea get most of their, kind of goal-scoring threat from. You know, that's how they play. And it is such a big miss. And I remember Lewis saying on the Saturday football show that, you know, they're never going to win the league now that, you know, Ben Chilwell's missing. I said, how can you just say that after, you know, one player? Look at the squad, Chelsea squad. He said, because you don't realise like how much goes through the fullbacks. So have you now written Chelsea off now for the title?
Not entirely, but it's the percentage has definitely dropped massively. So at the very beginning of the season, before the season started, I picked them to win. As the season progressed, I felt like 70% chance of them, you know, winning the league. Now, at this point, say about 45%. It's not looking too promising, but especially with the situation that they're in, the drama with Lukaku, the injuries that you've mentioned, it doesn't look promising. But they still got the quality to get results. Even though they didn't get the win over Liverpool, the quality that was on that pitch, both teams went toe-to-toe for the whole game. They've still got the quality to compete. I think I think Chelsea now need to probably. Someone said 45% is generous. I think they still got. I don't know.
I love how you gave them the 5%. It wasn't 50% or 40%, 45%.
Yeah, City are clearly going to run away with it, but Chelsea are definitely still in. I think they should concentrate on Europe now.
Yeah, I think that you are spot on with that. Liverpool are, of course, going to be losing a few players because of African Cup of Nations. Liverpool haven't had the greatest Christmas period either, and they've lost quite a lot of ground on Manchester City. The games they've got coming up, off the top of my head, I think, are they playing you guys at some point during January?
Yeah,
in the cup. Yeah, in the cup. Do you think that, you know, Salah, Mane, who's the other one? Is it Naby Keita that's also missing? Yeah. Do you know those players, are they going to be pivotal, you know, in missing for Liverpool?
Yes, 100%. But at the same time, you cannot discredit the quality that they have on the bench. Minamino can still do a great job.
Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Ox can, I mean, he hasn't really scored, but he does a great job in midfield. He progresses the ball and he's integral to what they can do going forward. But there's players that can still score for them. Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah are the goal scorers.
Yeah, but it will be interesting to see what happens at the end of January. There's not too many Premier League games in January. There's a lot of cup action going on, so that will be interesting to see what does happen. But I don't think they'll be kind of at the level. But then again, Liverpool do surprise us. They've got great youngsters as well on a bench. Right, Crystal Palace 2, West Ham 3. I mean, that looked like the comeback was on at one point. They left it just a little bit too late. But Palace have lost a home league game on New Year's Day for the first time in their history. This was their 14th match on New Year's Day. West Ham pair Mikel Antonio and Said Benrahma have combined for 5 goals in the Premier League this season. 3 from Antonio to Benrahma and 2 from Benrahma to Antonio, the most of any duo. Now, we said we were excited for this game. It didn't disappoint. This one on paper looked like it was going to be entertaining anyway. You know, this was a really good win for West Ham, which puts them back in the race for the European spots. But you can't really, you know, discredit Palace with their never say die attitude.
Yeah, I loved this game. We did say that. I mean, I think in the comments people were like, it's not going to be an interesting game, but we did say with the way that Palace play football and West Ham, they've, you know, even though they haven't been consistent, they've been on that rise this season and are, you know, contenders for top 4. It had a great game written all over it, and it didn't disappoint at all. I mean, the goals that we saw, first of all, incredible. Lanzini,
so good. Oh, Lanzini with that goal, it's just a joke.
And then Crystal Palace, with the potential comeback, they could have had the equaliser, but that bicycle kick going for glory just went a bit too wide. But, you know, you have to give credit to Vieira's side. Once again, some young players, Elise coming on, assisting one, scoring one. It was all round a great game. There was opportunities to score from the very beginning. The Palace keeper, is it Gator?
Yeah, Gator.
So many key saves before West Ham even scored.
Yeah,
it was like a key save at one point.
Yeah, he was honestly on fire. That one where he was on the floor and then got up and then got down and then had the hand. Amazing. I mean, he was just absolutely everywhere. And they, as Sharky said here, Palace never stopped trying. They look a good side. They really, really do look a good side. And, you know, I think maybe in the past, maybe under Roy Hodgson, you would have seen them kind of crumble, being 3-0 down at half time. You know, they kept working hard. And I didn't think Palace were particularly bad. It was just, I don't think necessarily the scoreline actually reflected how Palace had been in that first half.
Yeah.
Definitely. I just think they had that chance with Benteke just before halftime, and, you know, maybe if they would have just got into that. But hey ho, it was a really interesting and entertaining game, and West Ham are back to winning ways. Watford 0, Tottenham 1. Since Claudio Ranieri's first game in charge in October, Watford have lost more Premier League matches than any other side in this period, which is 9. Davinson Sanchez's header was the latest winning goal Tottenham have scored in a Premier League game since Opta have exact times of goals, which is started in 2006-07, and it was timed at 95-45. I mean, they really did leave it late. And of course, with Arsenal dropping points earlier in the day, it was really important that Spurs got the win in this one after dropping the points at Southampton.
Yeah.
What did you kind of make of that game? Because
let me be completely honest with you. Obviously, this was the same day that Arsenal played. I was in my feelings that whole day and was still complaining about the Arsenal result. And I didn't even realise that Tottenham won that game. Because obviously I was still checking. It was 0-0 the whole time. I got home and thought, right, cool. We've lost. Tottenham's drawn. Fine. I didn't even realise till I watched Match of the Day that there was a last-minute header that I didn't even get a notification for. And I was like, how? I checked at 90 plus something and it was still 0-0. So I saw the highlights, of course, on Match of the Day, but it wasn't the greatest of performances. But that's what you need to do. You need to get the goals, whether it comes in the first minute or the last minute. And that's what Sanchez was able to do for Tottenham. But, they need better performances. Under Conte, I think that should have been a routine win.
I think it's a lack of, creativity, I would say. I mean, that they're playing far better. I mean, there's no way that Spurs would have, won that game under Nuno. There's just absolutely no way. And I think the way they are playing has really improved. But I would say we're still missing that piece of creativity, in that 10 role or in midfield. Just, because when we haven't necessarily got Harry Kane to rely on at the moment. Son, I know people will say Son's been great this season. He really hasn't. He's been okay, but not at the level that, he's usually at. And obviously when you haven't got Kane and you haven't got Son, there's a real lack of goals. There is, Marlon said there's a pen for Watford. I mean, I've done my research on this, and there is talking points.
Where Lloris came out.
Yeah, when Lloris came out, but when I have looked, Lloris has got the ball. So, and that's actually not me being biased. I actually did have a look at it and see if there were questions on it. You can have a question on it, but then from the same time, lots of Spurs fans saying there was a clear, blatant penalty on Eric Dyer that should have been given in the box. So. Again, I think maybe it's an inconsistency thing. Some things are given, some things aren't given. But I didn't think it was necessarily like a stone wall. Z Golder said, yes, Abby, stop lying. You would have won that game with Nuno. It's Watford. No, I promise you, we wouldn't have won that game. We probably would have lost that game. But yeah, I think that's exactly highlights where Spurs need to strengthen. They're not playing Ndombele, who's the only one that can kind of cut through the lines and, make that creativity in behind. He doesn't fancy him, which I didn't think he would when he came in. He's not a hard worker, runner type of player. So I think that's what they'll be looking for maybe in this January window. Adavita said, Abby, Northampton derby prediction. I'll give you a prediction just before the Northampton derby. Let's see what happens.
Who's the most creative player at Tottenham right now?
I don't want to. Well, that's the thing. I say Ndombele, but he sits on the bench. And that's it, really. They've never really replaced Christian Eriksen.
What about, true. What about, does Dele Alli have some type of creativity?
No, not for me. Not in the way that Dele plays anymore. I think that, maybe when he used to play in that kind of, that 10 role kind of annoying off the shoulder type player years ago. Yes. But no, not for me. I really think that's where we struggled, and we have struggled for 2 years since we got rid of Christian Eriksen. But we'll see. Watford again. What do they do here? Because they keep changing their managers, and sometimes I just think you just have to be stable, because it doesn't help changing your managers all the time. And then what happens is you get into this thing where if you're constantly chopping and changing, I don't think it helps you. And they do the same thing every single season. But
the thing is, even though they've been chopping and changing, it hasn't affected them positively in any type of way. There's no form of winning. Like, they haven't gone on a run or anything, and that's the problem I'm worried about for Ranieri now, because you think in this climate now for managers, you don't get that long in a job, especially if you lose that many games. And I'm worried now, is he going to have a chance to stay and make something, or is this just right, your time's up, let's bring someone else in and let's carry on losing games?
No, I don't know. I mean, I have to say, the way that I think that they run that club in that aspect is probably not particularly healthy. But I think they've made a decision now, unless there's someone else they can go and get that they think is a better manager than Ranieri, because I don't think Ranieri is a bad manager at all. I don't know. It'll be interesting. Kenny Phillips has said Dele Alli needs a fresh challenge. I totally agree.
I think he should go to Newcastle.
I totally agree, but I don't know whether or not he'd be up for that type of, dogfight.
What? Mate, do your job. Go to another Premier League club. What do you mean?
I don't think he'd be up for that type of fight, when you're currently pitted for relegation. I don't think he'd be up for it. I think there's a handful. Well, for example, Newcastle are linked with Aubameyang. Can you see Aubameyang going there and actually, dragging them out of that?
I know you're not comparing Aubameyang to Dele Alli.
I'm just saying, I don't think that those type of players, I guess you could say a flair player, are the type of players that Newcastle will need to stay up. I think it's a good move for Newcastle, but I don't think it's necessarily the type of players that are going to pull their socks up.
So what type of club do you think Dele Alli should be at then?
No, I think he should go to Newcastle, but I'm just saying, at the moment, I think that they're trying to stay up. And I don't necessarily think that, you're going to need players that are fully committed, that when it gets to the summer, if you do go down, aren't going to say in their contract, I've got a release clause that I can go.
Fair enough. But I think
that's what I'm saying. And I think that the people that they're being linked with at the moment, someone like a Dele Alli, someone like an Aubameyang, I think those people would have a clause in their contract that says, if we get relegated, I'm leaving. And I think that that's not what Newcastle need. They need people that are committed.
He does have the mentality for a club like that.
I don't reckon they could be bothered. I really don't. I don't think that, we see what they're like at their current clubs at the moment, those two players in particular. And I don't know. I just don't necessarily. I think it would be a good signing. I could see it happening, but I just don't necessarily think that that's the type of player that would get them out of the relegation scrap that they're in.
Fair enough.
That's just my view on it. Yes. Anyway, I think they're both a bit soft to kind of go and do that. Right, moving on. Everton 2, Brighton 3. I back Brighton. I told you. Brighton are really good. They are 8th in the table at the moment. I mean, what a job Graham Potter is doing there. Brighton have won 2 of their last 3 Premier League games after failing to win any of the 11 before that, where they drew 8 and lost 3. Everton have lost their first league game in each of the last 5 calendar years, and they've picked up just 19 points from their first 18 Premier League games this season. I know we've discussed this previously, but is the pressure really starting to mount on Rafa?
Yes, it has been for a few weeks now. I still don't understand why. I actually don't understand why they change managers. I'll never understand. But each their own. I think he wanted to go anyway. But the point is, Everton haven't been playing the greatest of football. I felt Rafa coming in was always going to be a problem because of his history and where he's managed previously. But because he's such a good manager, I thought he would get them playing not only good football, but have that mentality to go out there and win games. And they're just not doing that. And all credit to Brighton and Graham Potter. It's not just about Everton being bad. They've been good.
I actually think that Graham Potter would be a really good fit for Everton as a manager. I think he would be a good fit. But of course, they had to, Ancelotti left. He went back to Madrid. He didn't want to be there anymore. Which is a shame. But were they really progressing under Ancelotti?
I don't think he ever wanted that job. I just think he was doing it to fill time.
Yes, I think he just, was a bit of a buffer. Because as soon as something came in, he was like, okay, I'm off. And we saw that as well with James Rodriguez, that he only went there for Ancelotti. As soon as Ancelotti left, he was like, see ya, I'm out the door. But Everton is, they have got quality players. They have had injury concerns, this season. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know how long he's got left. I'd be surprised if he was still there in another two months. Let's look at February. I don't know if he'd still be there.
No way.
You think he'll go?
I mean, as long as they're safe. What's their ambition this year? To finish 12th or something? It's still a minor possibility for them. I don't think he'll go because what's their target?
Yeah, but if you're Everton and you're an Everton fan, your target isn't 12th. You're a big club, Everton. And I think the Everton fans would probably say that their target would be to be between kind of, I guess not 6th maybe, but 7th and 9th at a push, and having some type of European football. So for me, I would say that, being 12th is not good enough for Everton.
Yeah.
I really would say that. But again, credit to Graham Potter. And I just wanted to say, because we both spoke about Anthony Gordon before.
Yes.
And how great he was. I mean, look, 2 goals. He won the penalty as well for Everton. What a talent they've got there.
I feel like now, in hindsight, he should have been the one to take the penalty, but you just never doubt Dom, do you? I can't believe Dom missed that. But listen, Anthony Gordon, he, for me, was the only one that was trying to make something happen. He, for me, was the only one that felt that Everton could get something out of this game. He was the only one that was trying. He was creating. He was scoring. He was doing everything. For a young talent like that to come on and to be there and change the game for a club as big as Everton, you think, what's the other players doing? Pull your weight. Come on.
Yeah, I agree with you, but he has got a big future. I look forward to seeing it. Leeds 3, Burnley 1. Burnley have won just one of their last 20 Premier League games, a 3-1 win over newly promoted Brentford in October. They're winless in 11 away matches now, but Leeds ended a run of 4 Premier League matches without a win, winning their first game since a 1-0 win over Palace at the end of November, and it was such a much-needed win for Leeds, keeping them a bit further away from those relegation places. However, these two sides could very easily get sucked into that relegation battle this season. Can you see that happening? And which one do you back to not get sucked in?
I think Leeds. I think Leeds are slowly clawing away to safety. I think it might be Burnley that will get sucked in. Honourable shout out to Max Cormier though for that free kick. Honourable shout out because that was outstanding.
Good player.
Yeah. I don't know. Burnley just don't have enough. The players that they have, but I think Burnley fans could be happy with the players that they have and how they perform. I know it sounds so stupid, but like the players and how they play for who they are good, but it's just not good to stay up.
Burnley have quite a few games in hand though from postponements. I think when I looked yesterday, it was like they've only played 16 or maybe 17 now. So they have got games in hand. They could get themselves out of that, but again, they have to win those games in hand. Leeds have had loads of injury problems, and hopefully they're coming back. Hopefully we see, the Patrick Bamford come back soon, and that could be a real, help for them to maybe kind of stay up. But if they do stay up, I still think they're going to have to invest in January if that might happen, because at the moment, I'm not entirely sure that could happen. Right, Brentford.
Sorry, that's so rude. Abdullah says Everton are not a big club. The biggest thing about Everton is that they're Liverpool's local rivals. No,
Everton are a big club.
Everton's a big club, man.
Everton are a big club. You can't say that. Brentford 2, Aston Villa 1. Since the start of the season, Aston Villa have lost more Premier League games after scoring the first goal than any other side in the competition, which is 8. Only West Ham and Everton have won more points from losing positions in the Premier League than Brentford this season. Brentford again proving that their place is no easy game. If you go to, I think it's the Brentford Community Stadium, despite that they've only just come up. But should this really have been Aston Villa's? They were 1-0 up. Credit to credit to Brentford. They got themselves back into the game. I can't remember how we called this. I think we called this Villa, didn't we?
I actually don't remember. No, I backed Brentford.
Did you back Brentford? I think I backed Villa for this.
I backed Brentford. I'm sure I did. I'm sure someone will remind me, but it's most likely that I would have backed Brentford because I got a little soft spot for them. And they were at home and their home crowd's amazing. But it was Villa's game, to be fair. Well, in the beginning anyway. Danny Ings setting it off, nice finish. But Brentford just had the willpower to get back in there. Great goal from Wiesa. I didn't think he would get it off the way he was.
Yeah, it was a really good goal. Really good goal.
Amazing finish. And even the second goal, I cannot for the life of me remember the young man's name.
I think it's Raz. Was it Rasmussen? Rasmussen?
Yeah,
I think it was him.
The man with that got it on the rebound.
The man.
That's the man. Done the job for Brentford. I mean, Brentford are a great team. So Aston Villa. I just Aston Villa's got in another team in a situation where injuries are letting them down, and signings that I thought would have been the game changer for them. Bringing in Leon Bailey, I feel like he's been injured ever since he's arrived. Buendia, I felt like he would have been a real game changer for them because that's a player that I wanted to see at Arsenal, and I haven't really. It's not the players that they've signed that I felt would have helped propel them. Haven't done that. So it's kind of hard to back them this much this season.
I agree with you. And also, of course, they were also missing Ollie Watkins yesterday, but I still think that they maybe could and should have had enough. However, it is, and good on Brentford. Of course, Southampton Newcastle was postponed. Tonight, we have Manchester United against Wolves, which is at 5:30. Wolves take on Manchester United at Old Trafford. And we have already previewed this one the other day. But can I get a quick prediction off you for this game?
Manchester 2, Wolves 1.
I can't remember what I said the other day, so I'm probably going to contradict myself. I'm
Wolves 1-0. You never know.
I might do this as a draw. I might go 1-1 on this one.
Why?
Because
no one's respecting Manchester United these days, are they?
No, I just think they haven't been particularly good the last 3 times I've played. I think they won the other day, didn't they? But apart from that, I just haven't really seen much from United that showed me much progress. And I think Wolves are a good side. So Look, I don't think Old Trafford is particularly a fortress anymore. I think that Ralph Rangnick's got a lot to do in terms of making that back. So I think anyone can kind of go there and get some points. They've always been strongest on the road, United, in the last few seasons.
All the comments are backing Wolves, except for those with Man United logos as display pictures. Everyone else that's not a United fan is backing Wolves, so it will be interesting. But I'm sure it'll be United win. It has to be, surely.
I'm going to go with the draw. I'm going to go 1-1 on this one. Right, before we wrap up, let's do Team of the Week and have a look at that. Let's see what you've gone for. Do you want to talk me through it?
If I could have put 10 midfielders in there, I would have done. I wanted Jack Harrison. I wanted... I've got McAllister. Did I got McAllister in there?
You did not put McAllister in there.
I had McAllister in there. I'm going to get on to you, production. I had McAllister in there. I took Lanzini out, but you know what? I wanted them all in there because Lanzini was great. McAllister was great. My man from Everton was great. Obviously, he was on the losing side. But listen, it was a great performance from a lot of players. I could have put another Arsenal player in there, but it felt unfair putting a team that lost in the Team of the Week. So many players, but they had the better performance. Lloris with the clean sheet, Trent Alexander with the great ball to Mo Salah, a great game all round. Sanchez with the winner, Brentford defender in there. Saka, of course, with the goal, the first goal against Man City. Man City don't really concede goals in the first half. They haven't really done that. Partey, man in the match performance. Kovacic, come on, the goal speaks for itself. And he had an all-round great game as well. Lanzini, top notch, again, as always. Great goal. Elise, game changer for Palace, even though they lost, but still absolute game changer. Antonio, of course, and the man of the moment, Mo Salah.
Man of the moment. Good team. Very good team. Good to see you've got some Spurs players in there for once.
Yeah, well, they won in it, so there you go.
Right, here is mine. We've got quite similar teams. Lloris in goal, pulled off some fantastic saves in that game. Stuart Dallas from Leeds, Sanchez, Dan Burn, Kieran Tierney I put in there. Lanzini, Partey and Kovacic in my midfield. I've gone with McAllister up front, Antonio and Johan Wissa as well, because I think that they all deserve special shout outs. But Anthony Gordon, we both said we really wanted Anthony Gordon to be in those teams as well.
Unfortunately, he's not
an option.
He's not available for selection at the moment. I'm sure he will be soon.
Yeah, we need to sort that out so he can actually be available for selection, but he wasn't actually available on our app. So make sure you guys head over to the app or donrobbie.co.uk to make sure that you do robbie.com, sorry, for you to do your Team of the Week. Right, before we go, January transfer window is now open. Anyone you would like to see in particular sign for Arsenal?
I can't give you an actual name. There's so many. We're linked to players that we're always linked to someone. Isak as well. But I just want, if I'll give you positions, I want a striker to replace the future of Lacazette, who's probably going in the summer, or most likely going. So a striker option, and another creative midfielder.
Okay, fair enough. I want a creative midfielder and I want a striker. So let's see what the transfer window Santa can bring us, and we'll be sitting here in a month's time dissecting that. But apart from that, we are done for this week, and I will be seeing you next week. I believe that we have a Premier League preview on Thursday with myself and Flex for you guys to look forward to. But apart from that, yes.
I just want to ask Franz Reyes one question.
Go on.
Name me 2 City players that had a Team of the Week performance. Just I know they won, but who out of their team had a Team of the Week performance? Because the players I selected had a Team of the Week performance. They shone. They really
Does
did.
Anyone ever agree with our Team of the Week?
No. But I still know who stood out for City. They're probably going to say Rodri for the winner, but who really stood out? No one.
I agree. No one. Yes, you're funny. Okay, right. So that is everything, and we shall be seeing you later this week or next week. Have a great week, everyone, and enjoy going back to work.
Yeah.